Welcome to another edition of It's Still Real to Me. Always, everything Zaslow Show 2.0, brought to us by our title sponsor, Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. If you've been involved in an accident, doesn't matter what kind, slip and fall, car accident, motorcycle, boating accident. If you have an injury, first you call 911, then you get an attorney on the phone immediately when you call Anidjar and Levine. Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. My pal Joey Levine is here with me, as of course we are on the road to WrestleMania. We are just a week away, next Saturday and Sunday night. So we're going to do we're going to dedicate pretty much the entire show today to WWE and the road to WrestleMania, because that's where we're at right now as far as pro wrestling. That's the major focus. Joey, good morning. How are you today? Hello.
I'm doing well. I'm ready. I'm excited. 6 days, not even a week, less than a week. We're recording Sunday. We got Saturday. Actually, for you, Zaz, it starts Friday night because we got Andre the Giant.
Baby. I know. I was excited when I saw that. So Saturday, though. So the Canes are playing today. The Canes have a chance to get to the Final Four. Last night, FAU, unbelievable, punched their ticket to the Final Four. Final Four is the same time as night one of WrestleMania, you know?
What gets the big TV? What gets the big TV?
That's a great question. WrestleMania is going to get the big TV.
Right.
You know, because I think the times of the games, like, isn't it like 5 and...
Yeah, they're weird.
8,
they're weird, yeah.
You know? WrestleMania is going to get the big TV, but I'll tell you what, man, like if the Canes are in the Final Four, well, we're gonna be looking at that small TV a hell of a lot, you know?
Yeah.
But WrestleMania is going to get big TV.
Luckily for you, well, what are you going to do? So here's my question. I got an even better one. What gets the big TV for you? Raw after Mania or FAU versus UM in the national championship?
No, the national, if FAU, especially if UM is in it, okay? If UM is in it for sure, it doesn't even matter who they're playing. The national championship is getting the big TV.
Okay.
And I will watch WrestleMania on tape delay. That's actually like
Raw after Mania.
Raw after Mania. Yeah. I'll watch it on tape delay. Because I'm not going to watch. I can't watch wrestling on the small TV because the small TV gets muted. You got to have the sound. All right. So I will watch. That's why WrestleMania will never be small TV. And WrestleMania doesn't get watched on delay. All right. So WrestleMania gets big TV. But Raw after Mania will be watched on delay. I'll watch
the tough thing. I would have trouble watching the Raw after Mania on delay because the Raw after Mania is when the surprises happen.
But I'm gonna stay off social media. Like I won't have any of it spoiled for me. You know, like I can help myself. I'll stay away. You know,
okay. I can't. I'm hooked to the.
I hear you.
Machine.
No, I'm with you. Like 6 seconds go by, and my brain tells me you haven't checked Twitter. You know, so I hear you. But I'll stay away from the social media, and hopefully that is a scenario that I have to deal with. Is the Canes being in the national championship? Crazy.
I know this is not a basketball podcast, but the idea that we could see the University of Miami versus FAU in a national championship in any sport.
It's unbelievable.
Crazy.
It's unbelievable. Nuts. It's unbelievable. So WrestleMania, we are less than a week away. First of all, this is several years now. I guess they started at WrestleMania 36 in the Performance Center. And I remember when they did, you know, night 1, night 2, they wanted to do something different because they're in the Performance Center and it's COVID and it's a disaster. And let's make it something different, but a good different. And we're going to do 2 nights. The way that I remember it going down, it was not talked about as a thing that they're going to keep permanent. It really was talked about as a one-time thing. And I remember number one, not that it matters, but I know Wrestle Kingdom is a 2-night affair. And I remember saying to myself, why the hell not? Why wouldn't you have it 2 nights? Number one, it's more ticket sales, that kind of deal. So now I know they have to pay to rent the stadium for 2 nights instead of 1. I understand that. But you're getting the ticket sales. You're getting 2 nights worth of ticket sales. And most importantly, for the viewer, for the fan like us, I don't have to have 12 matches in 1 night. Give me 6 matches one night, 6 matches the next night. Let's make WrestleMania an entire weekend. And they have done it ever since. I love the 2-night WrestleMania. Like, can you imagine somebody? Is there a reason for somebody to not love the 2-night WrestleMania?
No, and I mean, you've been to Mania. The only Mania I ever went to was the last full Mania, was the last long one night
35.
Mania, and it was impossible.
It's very long.
It's even better for the live crowd. I mean, obviously everybody likes that it's a little bit shorter and it's split up, and now we get a full weekend, 4 straight days of WrestleMania related content with SmackDown and Raw. But being there live for that show was brutal. I mean, I loved it. It was great experience. I'm glad I got to go to one before they switched it up. And like, I'll never forget Hogan coming out, Hogan coming out with Alexa Bliss in the beginning as the host. And then Paul Heyman just comes out to the ring and Brock goes out and has his match right off. I'll never forget that. But then by the end, it's like, oh my God.
Yep. You're gassed.
I'm like, I've been drinking all day, start drinking early, which is a mistake because then by an hour into the show, it's hard to get beers because it's stadium beers. And it's just like, man, it's a lot. So yeah, it was the right move for all parties, I think.
The only drawback, and it's not a big enough drawback to not like that they do it. The only drawback is, like I went to WrestleMania 37, the one where they finally came back from COVID, although it wasn't a full crowd there in Tampa. Every other row had cardboard cutouts of people, so it wasn't real people,
Right.
But yeah. I was at WrestleMania, which, by the way, that was a pleasure because you had no one sitting in front of you. No one's going to block your view.
Right. Yeah.
It was actually a pleasure if you were there in attendance. But I went to WrestleMania 37, and so that was my first time going to a WrestleMania where it's 2 nights. The only drawback, and like I said, it's not a big enough drawback for it to not be a good thing that they do it this way. But when you buy tickets, if you're not going both nights, which I wasn't going both nights, like, all right, should I buy for night 1 or should I buy for night 2?
Yeah,
and
tough.
then you're like hoping that you get the match that you want on night. Like I went to night 1, and then you're hoping that you get the match that you want on night 1. You're not going to get the main event because that's always going to main event night 2. And that year was Roman versus Edge and Daniel Bryan. So I knew I wasn't getting that. The main event that I got was Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, which was a great main event.
Sure.
But you're left out of half the matches if you're going for just one night.
Yep.
2 nights, it's very expensive if you're going to go in person. So that's the only drawback.
Yeah, I also think, but I will say the other thing, and I think you sort of alluded to this, but it's better for the talent, like long term for their careers, if you think about it, because like in 20 years, when we're like WrestleMania 39, we're not going to say, oh, WrestleMania 39, the 2-night event. We're going to say WrestleMania 39, and now there's 2 main events and there's 2 opening spots. And those are 2 huge moments in someone's career, right? So like we know they announced that Theory and Cena are opening night 1. That's a huge deal for Theory. He's opening WrestleMania, and he's probably going to beat John Cena on night 1 of WrestleMania. But then somebody else is going to get to say, well, I opened WrestleMania also the next night. And then 2 people are going to get to say, I main evented WrestleMania. So now every year, 2 people have this moment for their careers for the rest of time. And like, yeah, we know Cody and Roman's going to close night 2, but we still don't totally know, and which we're going to talk about what's going to close night 1. And that could steal the show. And that could be what everybody remembers as the main event of Mania. So it's really good for the talent too. I think they get 2 opportunities to do. We've heard Triple H talk since he took over about how opening the show is just as important as closing the show in his eyes. Now there's 2 opportunities to do each. So it's a good thing for them, I think, too.
So what do we know now? How many matches do we have set in stone at this point? Because I would assume that we're having like 6 matches a night, right? Something like that.
Yeah. So what we know is what I just said, which is Cena and Theory are opening night 1.
Mm-hmm.
And Roman and Cody are closing
night 2.
Everything else is up in the air. The rumors have been that Charlotte and Rhea will close night 1.
Right. It's possible that we don't know until the day of. I remember when I went to WrestleMania 33, we didn't know until the day of that Undertaker and Roman, not for a title, were closing the night. Sometimes we don't know until the day of.
By the way, so I'm have pulled up right now from yesterday, Bleacher Report, predicting each night. This is their predictions, which means nothing. But I'm looking at the predictions for night one. This is a WrestleMania card. Like, you could just have this card and this is WrestleMania, and it's a great. So they predict Cena and Theory, which we know, Ray and Dom.
Oh my God, it's gonna be so good.
The women's showcase match, which that's the only thing that's up in the air right now, is who's the fourth team. We don't know.
I was confused when they announced the women's showcase match. So the women's it's just a 4-way tag team, right? Like,
match. Yep.
Okay.
Same thing with the men's. It's the same with the men's, yeah. Except with the men's, there wasn't. But here's why it's so weird, and this is why I've been feeling a little Vincey lately, because this is a very Vince move to just shoehorn these things into a show that really don't mean anything. When they announced this, they were like, we're gonna have qualifying matches to see who makes it, right? So you have Liv and Raquel qualified, and then Shotzi and Natalya qualified, but now Ronda and Shayna Baszler just showed up, and they don't have to qualify; they're just in.
Well, I would imagine once, and this happened a couple nights ago on SmackDown, I would imagine once Ronda got cleared, it was like, all right, we obviously have to have them in the match. Yep. So even if we have to shoehorn them in, it is what it is.
Well, and then they win that match, and then they come out on Raw and they challenge for the tag titles, because that's been the thing.
They have to win the match. They have to win. Right. Yeah, and I, as the fourth team, I mean, Carmella and Chelsea Green has to be, right?
Oh, that'd be good. I like it. I'll take it. That's fun. Now, I have something in Big Dirt. Actually, I don't even know how that would apply to this, but there is someone who could show up that could be part of this, but I don't know who her tag partner would be.
I think it's got to be Chelsea Green and Carmella. They've been devoting a lot of time to Chelsea Green. Yeah. What for if they're not going to be in that match? I think it happens.
She's been back for like a month and she's on WrestleMania. That's a big deal for her. All right, fourth match, according to them, their prediction is Edge versus Finn, Hell in a Cell.
Yes.
And then Charlotte and Rhea, main event. So those are the 5 matches they have for night one.
I mean, they're not going to be just 5 matches. There'll be one more match added somewhere there. They're not going to do just 5 matches, but okay, that sounds good.
No, sorry. That's the undercard, and then they say the main event will be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Usos.
The Bloodline. Okay, yeah, there's got to be 6 matches. You got to have 6.
So they think that Charlotte and Rhea will be the co-main that night. Okay. And then,
so what do you do for that co-main? Like, the co-main goes in the middle of the card, right?
Man, I probably, because I don't know. That's a good question. They put it as that as being their order.
Okay.
But I mean, where do you put? I mean, the only bad match in that I just named there, the only match that's not kind of a sick match is the women's showcase match, because Cena in Theory is going to be fun. Dom and Ray is going to be incredible. Edge and Finn should be incredible.
Yep.
Especially with the rumors that it's going to be Brood, Edge versus Demon and Finn. That's fun.
Yeah.
Charlotte and Rhea, we're going to talk about that. I don't know what's going on there, but it'll be a good match. And then you got the Usos and Sami Zayn and KO. It's great.
Great night. Great night.
I'm just reading this now. I'm getting pretty excited. All right. Night 2, they are predicting the rest of the matches, obviously. So you have the 6 women tag. Damage Control versus Becky, Lita, and Trish.
I could see that opening the night.
Good, because that's one of the matches I'm not really looking a ton forward to.
But that's a good reason to have it first, because the crowd's super jacked. It's the beginning of the night.
And you get the pop for the legends. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you could open with Brock versus Omos, which they have going second, because that is going to be fun. And you always get a good pop for Brock. It'll be a good quick match to get the crowd going. I mean, I think that's a fun match. Then you get Seth freaking Rollins versus Logan Paul. The men's tag team showcase, which is Ricochet and Braun versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy versus Viking Raiders.
Yeah, that right there is the match of the entire weekend that I'm going to have a hard time getting into.
Yeah, it's just dumb. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, I don't know that it's dumb. They want to get as many guys on the card. They need to fill up matches, but it's like, all right, this match is whatever.
Look, I love Alpha Academy. Chad Gable is one of my favorite wrestlers on the roster. Otis is one of my favorite on the roster. So seeing them is great. I'm assuming Maximum Male Models will be involved somehow. Maybe we'll get the Street Profits finally breaking up.
Isn't his name Otis now?
Well, they had a backstage segment and he chose Chad Gable over Maxine. So I don't know. We don't know what's going on there. Maybe the Street Profits finally break up. Who knows? All right, then you got the Intercontinental Triple Threat. You
Oh,
got
that's gonna be so good.
the Raw Women's Championship,
Yep,
which again has been whatever. And then you got the main event, Cody and Roman.
that's
So
a
that's
night,
seven.
man. That's a
That's
night.
seven. That's seven matches on night two.
That's a night.
Actually night one is like all action. There's there's probably two or three matches on night two where I'm like, I don't need them. Not that they're bad. I mean, like the women's six woman tag. I don't care. I just don't. The men's match, the men's featured match, don't care. And then I care about Asuka and Bianca, but the build has been rough. It's going to be a good match, but the build's been rough.
Now, there's going to be extra stuff mixed in here and there, night one and night two.
Sure.
So let me ask you here. Is it going to be at WrestleMania, or is it going to be Raw after Mania that we get Randy Orton back?
I feel like it's going to be after.
I think it's going to be after too.
We don't get a ton of these surprise returns at Mania, right?
I think it's going to be after
rarely
two.
ever, right?
I think it's going to be after two.
But I mean, the way Mania is split up now, you could do it. I think part of the reason they don't do a lot of those surprises at Mania was because the show's so long and you just have so much stuff you have to do. It's like a 12-hour show.
Yeah.
Maybe who knows? Maybe at the end of night one or during, maybe, I don't know, maybe in the Rollins match. I don't know where he fits either. Like that's an interesting thing of where he fits. Is he a face? Is he a heel? Because he's going to get cheers when he comes back. But what's he coming back for?
Well, yeah. Yeah. So and by the way, since it's opening the show too, and we went through this last week or a couple weeks ago, whatever it was, where they never love you more than when you're gone. That pop for Cena at the beginning of the night, Saturday night's gonna be very, very hot. It's gonna be very, very good. That's gonna be a lot of fun, man. That match is gonna be great.
Yeah. How good has WWE? I mean, this could lead into one of the topics we were going to talk to today too. How good has WWE been? Because I was talking about it when we were watching it live happening. Over the last like 4 or 5 months at like building up to these massive pops, right? Because you got another one on Friday with Ray, right? But I mean, Sammy and Jay, I mean, most of them have been Sami Zayn, but they've done this thing where you get these weeks and weeks of builds.
Yeah, love it.
Leading to these pops that don't even have to do with matches, really. Like they are match involved, but like it's outside of, that's where, like the storytelling is incredible. Where, obviously the wrestling, we want the wrestling to be good, but it's a scripted drama television show. When you get those moments and you're like, man, that is just awesome.
So let's talk about one of those pops here. Came on SmackDown on Friday night. You got Rey Mysterio versus LA Knight. Now, real quick, a quick aside. Are we actually going to get like LA Knight's not going to, so those moments or segments somewhere in between the matches, night one and night two, it's LA. You got the LA superstar. What do they call him? What do they call LA Knight? Do they call him the LA superstar? What do they call him?
No, they just call him LA Knight.
But there's something they've been referring to him in regards to Los Angeles.
Wade Barrett calls him like the mega star or superstar. It's like something like that. Yeah.
All right.
But it's not the LA superstar, but it's something like that.
Because they've been devoting a lot of time the last couple weeks to referencing him being Los Angeles. They're in Los Angeles for WrestleMania. We're going to get some type of segment, either night one or night two, involving LA Knight. He's in the Battle Royal, but that's on SmackDown. It's in the arena. It's not.
Yeah, but he should win. He should win and then have a moment during.
Okay, that could be it. That could be it.
I mean, because look, they showed the graphic. Who can win that match? Him and Bobby Lashley are the only ones that make a ton of sense.
I think Bronson Reed can win it.
I guess so. Yeah.
But those
LA Knight's just so over. It just seems like they're ready to push him. So this is supposed to be a vehicle to push people, right? So
it's supposed to be. So anyway, you got Ray versus LA Knight. LA Knight gets the win because Dominic, there's shenanigans. Okay, I'm glad LA Knight finally got a win on television. I mean, when's the last time he won a match? So LA Knight gets the win there.
Against Ray the week before he goes in the Hall of Fame. It's a big deal.
And so, as it turns out, we're not going to have the shenanigans, or at least the shenanigans, excuse me, that I was referencing.
I was hoping once you said it, I was hoping that's what it was going to be.
But. Was hoping that maybe you got shenanigans where Ray has his Hall of Fame spoiled by Dominic, and that's what gets him to fight him. The other scenario It was one of just two ways. The other scenario was the mother has to be involved somehow. Something super disrespectful has to happen. And so we finally got that on Friday night where he yells at the mother, tells her to shut up, yells at her face, tells her to shut up. And that finally gets Ray to react. The only thing, and it was really cool. Ray comes, punches him out, and then Dominic. Look, you want to talk about how great Dominic has been throughout this whole thing. How about Dominic playing that scenario perfect where he turned back into a scared little boy. He was scared of his father on the ground. He was cowering away. Like, big time credit to Dominic. All right.
Yeah.
But
great.
The only thing that I would have changed there, I would have wanted Dominic somehow to put his hands on his mother. He doesn't have to hit her or anything, but he yelled at her. He yelled at her to shut up. And that put Ray over the edge. I would have.
I don't think you could do that though. And you
maybe
can't,
it could. What if he grabbed her arm, grabbed her by just like grabbed her shoulders? Sure. He doesn't have to hit her.
Right.
I would have wanted. You can't have him hit her, but he could have grabbed her by the shoulders and yelled at her. I would have wanted,
or maybe grabbed her wrist when she took the mic from him.
Yes,
something like that.
I would have wanted him to put his hands on her somehow. And that's what drove Ray over the edge. This was fine the way they did it because the whole point is getting to him being over the edge. But if I could have changed anything, I would have wanted him putting his hands on his mother. And that's what brings Ray over.
But yeah, I think it was pretty impactful the way he screamed in her face. I could see him putting his hands on his sister maybe, but doing something there because she's young and they're close to the same age, sister. The mom thing would have been something. I mean, that would be a reason to be pissed off for sure. My question to you was because we talked about it a lot on the show, is there any level of disappointment that they weren't able to hold off on Ray finally hitting him until Mania?
Well, I've been talking about that for like a good month now, right?
Yeah.
Can they but my question every week was, can they? Is it feasible? Can they wait until WrestleMania when he punches him and you get that major pop from the WrestleMania crowd? And I guess ultimately they decided they can't wait.
Right.
So I'm okay with it. Like, it's fine.
Right.
Ultimately they decided they cannot wait.
Right. Because now the match is awesome. The story's awesome. It's going to be fun. But he's going to hit him now because he already hit him. So you lose a little bit of steam off the beginning because the beginning could have been, you could have had a good 10 minutes in the ring with no action, just building to that. And it made
Dominic yelling at him.
Yeah.
Dominic saying, "Come on, hit me."
Yeah.
You're right.
You could have built the tension at Mania in that ring for a good 10 minutes before
they could have stood there doing nothing.
Yeah. Just Dominic running. Yeah.
And the crowd would have been eating it.
Yeah. It's just I try to figure out what it's fine. It's great. And I still think Dominic's going to do something at the Hall of Fame. I look watching Ray. Ray's not done. He doesn't look like a guy who's done with wrestling. And this story doesn't look done either. So
and now Mommy's involved. You saw Mommy tweet it out.
Yeah, of course she's involved. She's got to be involved. But I just wonder, where we sort of assumed that this was going to be like a retirement match, but it doesn't feel that way anymore.
No, it's not now. No, it's not.
It doesn't, right?
No.
Ray looks great. For a while I was like, Ray needs to retire. He just looks like he's out of it.
Well, remember, he did retire at one point. Remember, he did like a year or two ago, and Triple H talked him out of it to move shows. Remember?
Yeah, I was reading that he has been a little bit rejuvenated by this program.
It's the greatest. Well, he had that whole long thing with Batista a long time ago. I don't know. You could make the case this is the greatest story he's ever been involved in.
By the way, there was also one of these dirt sheet Twitter accounts tweeted that Legado will be in his corner for me.
Oh, that'd be good. I like it.
Which is interesting.
Like that.
Because, by the way, I could see them turning on Ray, too, and him having a little thing with them. Because they're great, but they're naturally kind of heelish, too.
Yeah, dirty. They're dirty.
But this is fun. I did, when it all started out, I love Ray, and Ray is a Hall of Famer, and Ray is one of the best ever. But, when I see there's times, and I think this happens with every wrestling fan, where you see these older guys who've been around forever and they're getting these huge Mania spots. In the beginning, I'm like, man, more Ray at WrestleMania. And now I'm just like,
I mean, have you ever been more into a Ray WrestleMania match, except for maybe when he won the title?
Eddie, or him and Eddie. I mean, no, him winning the title for Eddie was the peak. And then him and Eddie opening the show the year before was also probably one of the peaks. But no, not for WrestleMania.
Match certainly not. Also, it's gonna be so good.
It's a great. The story's been, man. Talk about long-term storytelling, right? Dom
and this is an example.
Dom in the ring as a 12-year-old to this,
and this is an example. This is an example of. And look, I usually maybe I'm a little naive sometimes. I usually like to give them the benefit of the doubt. Can we see where it's going? And this was one of those scenarios where, Dominic, he sucks. He's the worst. Can we give it a chance? Can we see where it's going? And you got the bloodline, and then right under it, you got Ray and Dom as the hottest story going. It's so good.
Well, I think, look, Dom, his intro to the WWE came at an unfortunate time for him, where it's towards the end of Vince's run. The booking for a long time was not very good. He comes in, he immediately gets pushed as a big baby face. Ray's son wins the tag titles, and everyone's like, oh, here's another Vince guy that we're getting pushed down our throat because he's Rey Mysterio's son. He has no charisma. He's just like whatever. So I think there was a lot of that. And then obviously we see now he's the son of a Hall of Famer who has learned a lot being around this business for a long time. And he's young. What's he? I mean, he can't be older than 23, 24 years. I mean, he's got to be pretty young.
Yep.
Right. He's got to be one of the younger guys on the roster. So to your point, letting it play out, it's hard to do. I mean, and this is part of the thing I have with the other company that we're not talking about today, but like, it's hard to see things long-term the way people's attention spans are now. Right. If you go a couple weeks and you're like, I don't get it, we're over it. And we tend to not let it play out a ton, particularly with talent, where it's like, this character stinks and it's boring and it's bland, so he's never going to make it. Kid's 23, 24, 25 years old, and his dad's Rey Mysterio. We probably should have given him a little bit more leeway, but he's turned it around for sure.
So how did we arrive at an Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal? I said last week, I was quite they still do it, right? They still do it. You were pretty adamant that they're not. Like, you're telling me they're not going to do a WrestleMania SmackDown and they're not going to have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal? And we got it, man. I love Battle Royals. I love it.
I think I know why we have it. You can thank Bray Wyatt.
Is that why?
I don't know, but like they have nothing for Bobby Lashley. They have nothing for LA Knight. Those are Bray Wyatt's last two opponents. And they have nothing for either of them.
So disappointing.
And they got to do something. You can't not have Bobby Lashley on the card. After all, he just had the Brock stuff, and he's supposed to be. I mean,
he's doing WrestleMania. He's doing WrestleMania SmackDown. That's what he's doing.
Right. That's what I mean. Right. But like,
but that doesn't really count.
No, but it's something. It's just, it's
like, do you think he gets that WrestleMania payday? Like, does that count as him being on the WrestleMania card? Because my guess is no.
Probably not the same. I mean, maybe if they're booking him as the winner, but has he won it?
No.
He seems like he won it, but maybe not.
I don't think he's ever been in it.
Yeah, maybe not. But I don't know that I'm being a little facetious when I say it's because of Bray, but
I don't know. I think it's accurate. I think what you're saying is true.
I mean, they had to have something, but they're not doing the Battle Royal beat just because of Lashley. But they did need something for Lashley. So maybe, maybe it is true. Maybe it's like, you know what? What are we going to do with Bobby Lashley? Like, what the hell do we do here?
Is it possible? Is it possible? Can LA Knight win the WrestleMania SmackDown Battle Royal? He does something like he last eliminates Lashley, does something dirty, and then at WrestleMania, Lashley versus LA Knight. You can do that.
You could do it. You could do it. I would say what I would probably see is LA Knight winning,
Mm-hmm.
coming out on WrestleMania, talking about how he's the legend because
Mm-hmm.
he won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, Stone Cold Stunner. But I don't know. I you know what I mean? Like that seems more like what I could, the type of moment I see LA Knight having at Mania. But you could do it for sure, or maybe Bray interrupts the Andre the Giant
And
Battle
ruins
Royal
the night.
and ruins the night for Bobby, and then we get Bray and
No,
Bobby.
I mean just ruins the night, not just.
Well, yeah, ruin that
ruins the
too.
night.
Just that also. And then we get, Bo Dallas. I don't know. Maybe Uncle Howdy's in the Battle Royal.
Dude, Bray Wyatt came back in October. It was like 6 months ago. We're nowhere closer to knowing what the fuck is going on. What a shit show, man.
And he might be out of the company. Like,
What a
we don't
shit
even
show.
know. They've been very vague about why he's out. They keep saying, like, some people say it's a health thing. Some people say it's a physical issue.
It's always something, though, man.
They're being very vague about it. And the other thing is the Uncle Howdy stuff. It's been pretty clear for a while now that it's Bo Dallas.
I don't know.
It just seems like it based on all the Twitter sleuths and the way they've put things together. I love Bo Dallas. I thought Bo Dallas, the character.
I thought Bo Leave was a good character.
I thought Bo Leave was one of the best gimmicks.
Yeah.
I thought he was awesome. I love the B Team. I thought him and Curtis Axel was great.
I didn't care about B Team, but I
love Bo Dallas, the character. Can I just get Bo Dallas? I don't need him in a mask. I don't need him with Bray. I know they're brother. I mean, if you're going to actually allude to the fact that they're brothers and that they have a lineage and a family history in this thing, okay, maybe that's fun. But if not, can we just forget about Uncle Howdy? Can I just have Bo Dallas back? Because he's fun. He's good, And now, because Bray can't seemingly get out of his own way with this weird shit, we're not even going to get Bo Dallas back.
That's really what it feels like. He just can't get out of his own way because of the weird shit.
Yeah, it feels that way.
That's really a good way to put it.
But they're still so vague about why he's not around. Like, there's really been no full official thing. It's every, the insiders, so to speak, the Meltzers and the Sean Ross, everyone says something like he has this physical issue. They keep saying physical. What's a physical issue? So is he hurt?
He's physically upset with his character.
I mean, or the physical issue is that Triple H physically can't stand watching him.
That's right.
Wrestle.
That's right. That's right.
Maybe that's what
he's making the audience physically ill.
Yeah,
with how boring this is.
Mm-hmm.